27, going to be 28. Now you have a quarterback who was 26, going to be 27 November 2nd, a day before my birthday and your dad's birthday there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers. They were 9-6 last year, and there was some conversation. It's been recently here that maybe he took a step back last year.
Yeah.
Debate on that.
Right. I think that's a fair thing to say. But I think there's context to that, and we always say context matters here on the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. It does. Yeah, it wasn't as good last year. There's still big-time, game-changing type talent here with Jordan Love. He still is he puts fear in defensive coordinators because he's so aggressive and he's got such an easy way of throwing the ball down the field and making explosive plays that it's scary playing him. He's also a guy that I've even heard defensive coaches saying this, like, yeah, he's scary because he does look for the big play a lot. He might have a chance to take like a 5-yard gain, but he'll sit there and go, no, I'm about to see the 25, 30-yarder coming open, so I'm going to wait for it. This is the coverage that's there. He's great at that, and that scares people that way. So there is some scary things about him. But as far as like what you're saying, yeah, he took a step back. There's definitely. And that's why he's maybe took a step back in my rankings. I'm just, hey, it's only 2 years of playing. He's still very young as far as the NFL is concerned. He dealt with injuries from week 1 on, right? And I think that really derailed him. And that's what makes him tough here in this whole process too, because I don't know if I got to see the true Jordan Love really the whole year. He got a big contract. He wanted to get back on the field. I think he rushed himself back on the field a few times way too quickly. Within that, not getting to practice during the week, right? That didn't help him. He's a young guy again. He needs those reps. I think he saw Malik Willis come in and do some good things, and he's like, oh, damn, that looked too good. I don't like that. I'd like to get his ass back on the bench. Let me get back out there, right? So I think all those things played into a little bit of a step back there. Definitely wasn't as sharp decision-making. The biggest thing is just wasn't as sharp throwing the football. That's the biggest thing. We talked about it a lot during the season last year, right? Even on completions, there was plays where you just go, yeah, he completed that. But if he threw it on time and perfect to Jaden Reed, he would have caught that and turned up the sideline and ran for another 20. Instead, Jaden Reed had to turn around and maybe stumble and catch it like backpedaling, right? Because the ball was a little off target. Or he was a hair late to see it. Just, it was always stuff like that with Jordan Love. Right? But nonetheless, the ability to hang in the pocket, he moves better than people realize when he is healthy, and his aggressive nature and his big-time arm are still something I look at and admire and go, it's as far as down the field throwing and doing stuff like that, he's up there in the NFL. He's higher than where we got him ranked in that department. The problem with him is he's got to be surgical, precision, right? Play with a little better timing. I talked to Matt LaFleur. His feet hopping in the same spot sometimes, way too long, right? At times, almost like we've talked about with some other young quarterbacks, being greedy, where you're just like, wait, it's open. There's 7 yards. Take it. You can't always like, I'm going to hang here a little longer. Got into some bad habits throwing the ball mechanically. And again, this is something even before the injury that came up a little too much, but I feel like without the practice time and drilling in some reps the right way to do it, it became more of a thing last year. The hopping in place and just throwing off the back foot when I go, there's nobody within 10 feet of you, right? Like, stand in there, drive off your back leg, and drive the ball, and you're going to throw the ball with better accuracy and pace than you are if you're just sitting on your back leg, flicking it all the time. And he did that a number of times, too many times, to where balls sailed, they were off target, and there was no need to do it. And I think those are things he needs to polish up a little bit.
Well, he did have 8.3% of his passes last season dropped. That was the third highest rate in the NFL.
It was
but
insane.
But
it was also, exactly.
That can be a quarterback stat.
There's context.
Well. Yeah,
exactly. That's what this goes into what I was saying. Like, yeah, there's throws where you go, oh, that was complete, but you just go, damn, he made that as hard as possible, right? Or it's like, yeah, the guy dropped it. He had 2 hands on it, but he went down to his knees and slid on the grass to do it. And it's like, okay, yeah, he gets a drop. But in the quarterback room, like Lamar Jackson with Mark Andrews,
yeah.
right, both of them get a negative. Yeah, Mark Andrews should have caught it, and Lamar should have thrown it better. And I think there was a lot of that, too. So, yeah, there was a little bit of everything there.
So you mentioned that you talked to Matt LaFleur. It was 3 weeks ago right here on Unbuttoned. You asked him, how can you get the best version of Jordan Love? And this is what he told you.
Just him understanding the intent of why we're calling every play. And that's what a lot of our time in the offseason is dedicated to, is like, hey, why are we calling this? What are we looking for? What happens if we don't get the premier looks? Where are we going to go with the ball? I mean, there was some situations last year, I think, that we didn't see a ton of two-man, but there was a couple games where we got two-man and you got a crap play called for that. It's like, hey, what is your answer to that? And it might be, well, I got to try to find an exit angle and then take off and run.
Right.
And I do think that just everything he went through last year, it kind of limited some of his ability to make, maybe whether it's an off-schedule play or using his legs to really attack a defense.
Yeah, so the quarterbacking part of it, the thinking part of it, the
Right.
predicting
having the
part of it.
plan,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm saying, like, oh no, you get pressure, whatever else, boom, put it on this guy. This is what happened. Don't sit here and fade off the back foot and I don't know what to do and I throw a ball kind of up in the air that's a jump ball or something like that, right? Which led to some maybe more interceptions than they would like. But two things interesting there, right? You don't get don't get the premier look. What are you going to do, right? And that's something we've talked about that a number of times here with quarterbacks, right? Things aren't perfect, but what I learned, early on in my career, listening to John Gruden teach Brad Johnson, and then as I started to take over and become the quarterback and all of that, right? Like John Gruden used to say things like, "Hey, man, I'm giving you all these things, but they could do something different. You just got to make sure you got something in your mind of where you're going to go with that if they do this. We've played the numbers. Here's 100 times. They've done this 98, but there's this one time or two times this year they've done this. And this play call is not for that. It's for the other 98 times, right? So you got to have a plan in case that happens. Where are you going to go with it? Or are you going to be able to see it in time and maybe check out of the play altogether? Whatever. But that is part of being a quarterback, right? Hey, the play is for this. But, damn, if my left guard misses the block, where's somewhere I can get the ball out of my hand in a hurry and just go, okay, we averted disaster, right? It's crazy. And that's what the NFL, and that's what's special about a quarterback, because you can think about their defense, my defense, our play, all my checks, all of that. And then there's a whole what-if factor of a bunch of other things list that you got to go, I got to think of all that shit while I'm walking the line of scrimmage too. And that's why quarterbacks get paid $50 million a year, because they can literally think of all that type of stuff in about a tenth of a second and go, okay, I got it, right? And there's that. And then what he talked about, the intent of play. That's another huge thing. And that just tells you he's young. It tells you they've just been calling plays and going, we're going to call a play that'll work, and even if it doesn't do exactly right, it won't be that bad. They were trying to massage him, bring him along, do all of that. But when you start to hear like, hey, I'm teaching them why I'm calling the play, that's the next level of connection between a coach and a quarterback. To start to really, the quarterback get in the mind of the play caller. And again, not that I played a lot, but I did get a little like that with my time with Gruden when I played. After a few weeks, I've heard it for 2.5 years on the bench and, getting ready to become a starter. Now I'm in the starter. He's saying these things to me directly all the time. He'd call plays on a 1st and 10, and I'd be like, oh, I know what he wants. I got it. He wants me to throw the ball right here and get to 2nd and 2, right? And he gave me one little thing. Hey, if they do this, look for the big play here. But that's it. So I knew what he wanted right away. Hey, if I called this play on 2nd down, I'm kind of thinking this. But if I called this play on 1st down, I kind of have a different mindset. Same play, but I'm thinking something a little different here because of the situation and the down and the distance, right? And that's when an offense can become dangerous. And I think Jordan Love is, again, even though he's a little older in age, he's still learning things here very early on in the process.
Well, that's something, too, that's interesting, because then you can report back to Gruden or your coach. It's like, hey, I know you called this play thinking we'd get this, but guess what? They're doing this. And then he learns from you.
Oh,
and it's
definitely.
like you've gotten in each other's receiver's head.
That's
at that
when he
point.
knows you're in
Yeah.
the trust tree.
Yeah.
When you're walking off the field and all of a sudden you're going, whoa, he's seeing things and talking to me right away. The game's clear. It's slowed down for him.
Yeah.
Right? Those are those phrases you hear.
Yeah.
And that's what that means, right? When the coach goes over to you and he's giving you all these lessons and then the defense does a little something different and he comes over to the quarterback and goes, "What'd you see?" And the quarterback's like, I don't know what they did there, blah, blah, blah. That's when the coach is like, "Oh, shit, hey, we're just going to max them up protection the rest of the game and just send 2 guys out in the receiver or 2 guys out in a route. This guy he's not seeing things good today, right? I'm nervous. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, right?" Peyton Manning would throw an incompletion and be like, "Hey, this guy did the Pythagorean theorem. This guy went there, blah, 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 blah." And they're like, "Okay, Peyton's got it. He's good."
The one thing that helps a quarterback is having good weapons around you.
Yeah.
And receivers around. And they've done something that they did not do for Aaron Rodgers. And they got him a first-round wide receiver, Matthew Gold. Not necessarily a guy that you were super, super high on.
Right.
Flash speed at the combine. Don't know if that was real or not.
Yep.
We have some video of him throwing to Love and Golden at OTAs. I mean, how much do you think? I mean, they've already had a pretty good wide receiver crew if they can stay healthy there.
I definitely. And then with this guy throwing the ball, I mean, we showed the stats first off. He's one of the more aggressive throwers, yards per attempt in all of football, right? And this guy, the one thing I like about this, now, I don't think he plays as fast as what we see, right? Or what we saw at the combine.
Yeah.
Okay? But people do think there's untapped potential there. I don't know what to think of his foot injury and toe injury that he had a little bit, so maybe there's a part there. The one thing I do like about it, though, is he is ready. He's ready for the NFL right now. They needed somebody that can contribute right away this year. They're not bad at receiver. They're good at receiver.
Yeah.
But we don't know where Christian Watson is. The Romeo Doubs thing is always a little odd. So there's that. Jaden Reed's the man. But now you got a guy that can run all routes and potentially has a chance to be an explosive player as far as a down-the-field threat to go along with that. That's what you really like about that. Now, can we go back to those highlights there? Because I want to show the second throw, right? The second throw is what I don't like about him a little bit. So it'll come up again. Is that throw right there. So this one I like, right? I mean, he steps into it. He drives the ball. Perfect. This one, watch this. See? What? He didn't kind of stayed on that back foot. You know what I'm talking about? Doesn't really drive through
air. If you're on your back foot against air, that seems like a problem.
He's very good at it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to make a living on doing this. And I don't think you can control the ball perfectly throwing the ball that way all the time. This is not what you get taught in quarterback school or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. But still, here, he throws a great ball and all that, but I just wanted to speak to it just so everybody can kind of see it. But, yeah, this guy, he's, again, the want to touch the Hiney phase because he's got the type of talent and the aggressive nature and I think the ice-cold blood in his veins to where he could be a guy that next year is top 7 or 8 in football. I think he has that in him. Along with Kyler Murray, there's just some things that just got to get ironed out and fixed a little bit, and I think they can do that. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.